I have always avoided the political, especially in my fiction. In my nonfiction, I'm more than willing to tackle what I see as wrongdoing head on. I need to do that, and that's part of my role as a writer, as a nonfiction writer. Maclean's has been kind enough and generous enough to offer me a voice when I see one necessary to speak of things. So I've spoke about the tragedy of New Orleans after Katrina, and I've spoken now about plans of damming James Bay up until the Cree way of life is going to be wiped out in Ontario. And I need to express these things, and I'm not afraid to tackle them politically. But my fiction comes from a different part of me, a different place in me. I will never, hopefully, be the writer who bangs the reader over the head with the club, for example, of residential school. I want residential school to come out, if it comes out of my writing, as the insidious beast that it was. But my role, first and foremost, as a writer, is to be a storyteller, and hopefully a good one. That's so important, and that's something I always don't need to remind myself, but kind of first and foremost, I need to tell a good story. I do love words, but I don't let the words overpower the writing or the character or the situation. I try to people say my writing is, on the surface level, is very simple, and I think that's because I'm very simple. I don't know if I'm a simpleton, but I like the idea of, I'm dealing with, I think all of us as writers are dealing with often pretty complex and tough issues, and my approach is, if I can, as simply as my character, I want my characters to ring true as well. And my characters are going to speak in a certain way, are going to have a certain education, are going to have a certain type of bush education versus a formal education. And so words are very important, and it's finding the right ones, and obviously, but finding the right ones for the character that match the character. I've been just amazed that people actually come out to see me talk or read and then want to line up and wait and get their book signed by me. And so I hope I'm never going to feel ever even in the least bit jaded about that. I think it's an amazing thing that, especially in Canada, the reading scene is so strong, it seems, compared to America, to the States, where, you'll do a reading in the States, and unless you're a very big name, you might only get 5 or 6 or a dozen people out in your audience at these bookstores. But when I'm in Canada, people they're coming to hear me read, and I'm always still, I'm being one of so many kids, and when the spotlight's on you, your natural reaction is, what did I do wrong? You've done something wrong. And so I'm walking around Canada on this tour feeling guilty half the time, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. But I love my relationship with my readers. I'll get a lineup and someone will come and they'll want to talk. And I used to be nervous, like, but there's 15 other people behind you, so we can't talk too long, because then they're going to have to wait too long. But at this point in my life, like, we'll just talk, and I find that people are willing to wait and willing to listen, and they always want to share things with me, which I think is amazing. My grandfather was in World War I, or, I'm from a res, and I've experienced some of the same experiences as your character, or I haven't, and people are always wanting to share things with me, and I think that's amazing. That's a real gift that is offered to me, these people wanting to tell me a little bit about themselves.